I, 23F, have been dating an asshole, 26M. So, we've been dating since June, exclusively BF/GF since September. Everything was going great, or so I thought. He got so drunk today he couldn't come with all of us to the zoo, so I came back to his place after. I'm helping him into bed and go to get his phone to set him an alarm for work. Went off with a message on Instagram that said sorry I can't tonight, maybe soon, from a girl. I'm put off by this and open it. They had been texting back and forth for a while but had never met up. At this point I'm pissed and look through his DMs. Feel awful for doing this, but I'm so glad I did. 10 to 15 girls that he is talking to, trying to link up with, or just hitting on. At this point I'm disgusted. He's passed out on the bed but wakes up as I open the door, so I told him I'm leaving. I tried to explain what I found but he's so drunk he doesn't even know what's going on, so I said let's just talk about this tomorrow. Got in an Uber and went home. He's blowing up my phone now trying to get me to talk to him. I responded I'm home safe, let's talk tomorrow. I don't even know what to say though. Like, where could we even go from here? There is no trust or respect. He obviously doesn't give a shit about me. I'd kinda need some advice on how to talk to him tomorrow, if I even should / what I should say or do. I wish I could be with him. I really saw something here but I deserve more. So Reddit, what do I do? Too long didn't read. My new boyfriend has been messaging girls behind my back and flirting. A few months of dating and he's already with the bullshit. Block and delete out of your life. He did you a favor. You send him a text saying I saw your messages, go fuck yourself, and you block him on everything. Then you move on, because this loser isn't worth a second more of your time. The only response you need is go cry to your side pieces, I'm past caring. Then block and move on. People like him will always love talking to multiple girls to get attention from all of them. No, this is hard to hear, but if the attention from you isn't enough so far in your relationship, then your attention alone will never satisfy him enough. Move on, sister. Good luck. Point to add, it's his issue, not yours. Don't second guess your amazing self. He is the kind of immature, insecure MF who needs constant validation. That's entirely on him, and he would do this 100% of the time until he grows up. Email or text him and explain what you saw and that you are done. Tell him to move on with his life and don't contact you. Block him from everything and move on with your life. My 30F husband, 40 meters, is hitting a breaking point with corporate life stress. I'm not sure how I can help. My husband works for a large company as a corporate sales manager. I know he's been stressed, but today, I witnessed him nearly break. I didn't realize how extreme it was. He is behind on a deadline, and one email from his boss checking in sent him almost to tears. And mind you, he's not typically one to cry. I am worried about him. I don't know how to help. I'm a great listener and I tried talking through it with him, but he pushed me away. At the end of the day, I'll never understand his stress. My work is more about self-management without major deadlines. It has its own stress, but it's different. He manages so many people, is always having to take phone calls / emails / texts. He has deadlines, presentations, etc. In his moment of breaking he even mentioned quitting, which I will fully support for the sake of his mental health, but I do think he will stay. For anyone who has been in his position, how do you think a significant other could have helped you? Any suggestions and advice appreciated. Too long didn't read. My husband is hitting a mental breakdown because of stress due to work and I have no clue to how help. Looking for advice. I spent my 20s in a high-pressure corporate environment, making big money, eating in expensive restaurants and traveling the world. I also had an ulcer and cried in the bathroom at work almost every day. I was difficult to live with and spent even my off hours obsessing about work. One day, my husband had enough of my bullshit. Sat me down, looked into my eyes and said, I want my wife back. Money is nice and the trips are fun, but I'll give them all up if it means I get my wife back. I'd rather live in a homeless shelter than see you this unhappy. I fell into his arms and cried for what seemed like hours. And I quit the next day. Just hearing him tell me that it was okay to seek happiness and that material success didn't matter to him meant the world to me. Knowing that he wasn't going to be disappointed in me or resent me. This was 30 years ago and I've never regretted my decision to leave. We have 3 grown kids, 0 money and will never be able to retire. But we love our jobs and don't want to retire, so that's fine. We're happy, we love our lives and we love each other. Just tell him that you love him and not the things he provides you with. And give him that escape hatch, let him know that you'll love him and respect him no matter what. You sound like an awesome partner and I really wish you both the best. I think he should be looking for another job with less stress. No job is worth what he is going through. It sounds like a bit of a toxic work environment. If one phone call from the boss can send him into a downward spiral. It is easier to find a new job while you are already in one, generally. But if you are financially able to handle him quitting, I don't think there's anything wrong with him quitting something that is causing him distress. He would probably feel good if he knew that you support him through any major change he chooses and want to see him less stressed over anything else. Life is too short. At the end of the day, nobody gets to 80 years old and wishes they had just spent more time working at their job. I coped with similar work stress, also a sales manager, by drinking more, so at least that's not a problem. My biggest dilemma was I couldn't think of anything else I could do to make that kind of money, but I allowed our spending to exceed my being able to quit. So in my mind, I didn't have a choice but to keep doing it. It ended up in divorce and rehab. In our situation, I needed to hear my wife say we had other options. I couldn't take the failure of not being able to handle work and also not be able to afford to quit. So I guess it's not the most uplifting response, but just reading your description of a sales manager having a breakdown just about gives me flashbacks of those horrible days. 1. Same general career but different company with a better culture might help. 2. Similar role without management responsibilities might also help. 3. He could take an extended break to A. Recharge and B. Soul search about what he actually wants to do. 4. Therapy to manage stress better. 5. Push back on workload at work. These all require him to admit he has a problem and want to change it. There is no such thing as his industry, sales emergency. I was getting very stressed out by a frantic, incompetent, narcissistic boss who thrived on stress, until his assistant told me, correctly, that there is no such thing as a symphony orchestra emergency. Maybe on stage, kinda, barely, but literally nothing that happens in the business office of an orchestra is worth this much stress. She just let his fake panic roll right off her and kept doing things as calmly and well-paced as possible. And nothing bad ever happened. So much of phony corporate consumerist culture is about manufactured panic. Did he let himself cry? Isn't it ridiculous to shake and sweat and tremble daily instead of having one good cry for 4 minutes and get all the chemicals out? Crying is a way to regulate emotion. He needs to regulate. He needs to open the valve or it will burst. There are other ways as well. Meditation, exercise, therapy. These are generally seen as positive ways to process stress. His body will find a way, so it's being proactive and positive or reactive, and drugs, alcohol, rage, suppression, other less useful ways to process emotion. My 19F friend, 19F, wants me to stop talking to a guy I've been seeing, 20M, because she's in love with him. My friend met this guy back in January, and they talked for about 3 months before they essentially friend-zoned each other and decided to just be friends. A couple months ago the guy started gaining interest in me, and was constantly asking my friend to introduce me to him. Looking back, I guess my friend dodged his request for a while because it took a while for her to eventually give him my phone number. Before he and I started talking, I asked her if it was okay I was talking to him, because of the brief past where they were interested in one another, and she constantly assured me that things were okay. She was super encouraging of us talking and seeing each other, and even pushed him to ask me out on our first face-to-face date. We've been talking for about 2 months and have met around 4 times. We have a lot of chemistry and I'm super into him. However, earlier today I found out from our mutual friends that my friend has been crying non-stop and was extremely angry at me for talking to this guy. Apparently she dropped hints that she didn't want me to see him and that she still had feelings for him. I guess looking back there were the tiniest things I could have paid attention to, like her not giving him my phone number right away. But other than that, she had been completely supportive and had been egging me on to talk to and hang out to this guy. She is apparently still in love with him. This was super surprising because she hardly ever talked about her feelings for him, especially after they had decided to stay friends. I'm assuming that she had repressed feelings for him, and was now starting to realize it when she noticed how well things were going between him and I. I feel like the best way to avoid conflict here is to stop talking to the guy. But another part of me feels that she's not really being fair to me or considering my feelings. He's the first guy I've talked to seriously in a while, and it's been really hard for me to get back into the dating game after I had a traumatic incident about a year ago. I also don't understand why she wants me to stop talking to him when she is busy herself talking to multiple guys, including one of the guy's buddies. Am I being irrational? Is she? Any opinion would help a lot. Too long didn't read. My friend introduced me to a guy she used to talk to but is now friends with. She changed her mind and is upset with me for talking to him because she still has feelings for him. Your fear of confrontation will only make this worse. Do not fear confrontation, look at it as a tool that can help you get the best outcome for everyone. Confrontation doesn't have to mean an argument or fight, it simply means dealing with the issue head on. What does that look like? Like this. Sit her down, discuss both her and your feelings with her openly. Don't dismiss them, but don't make your decisions based on them. Make her feel heard and respected without doing anything to compromise your own boundaries and desires. Let her know you've heard from others she's upset and you want her to be open with you and tell you how she really feels. Then, ultimately, if the situation remains the same, you have to choose her friendship or this potential relationship. You should be prepared for having to make this choice as it is a serious potential outcome. But you cannot and should not make your decision until sitting her down and giving her an opportunity to express how she feels and for you to do so in return. If you sit her down and she continues to act as if she is fine and wants you to be together, well, ultimately that's her problem and not yours. One of two things is happening here. 1. They didn't friend zone each other. He rejected her, and now it stings that he is basically choosing you over her, because it makes her feel like she's not as good as you. Or 2. She wasn't that into him at first, but now that she sees that other women find him attractive, he is suddenly much more attractive in her eyes. He wasn't that appealing when she could have him any old time, but now that he's actually been validated as desirable by another woman, she sees value in him. However, earlier today I found out from our mutual friends that my friend has been crying non-stop and was extremely angry at me for talking to this guy. Apparently she dropped hints. Go with what she tells you herself with her own words, not what you hear from third parties about how she's supposedly very upset behind your back about her hints. If she's encouraging you to your face and raging to others that you believed her, then you shouldn't change anything if she's not willing to actually talk to you. On top of that, it may not even be true. She constantly assured me that things were okay. She was super encouraging of us talking and seeing each other, and even pushed him to ask me out on our first face-to-face date. She had been completely supportive and had been egging me on to talk to and hang out to this guy. Like, how sure are you that your mutual friends aren't fucking with you? And if they're being truthful, isn't that kind of her problem for lying to your face?